So, hello everyone. It's good to see you. Today's topic is concentration and focus. Maybe we can rather say appropriate concentration or appropriate focus. As we practice meditation, you might naturally feel it's all about really building the ability to concentrate on something, like maybe concentrating on the breath or concentrating on something that you visualize or certain feeling, certain states such as kindness or compassion. And so most people, when they think of concentration or think of meditation, think of concentrating on something, focusing on something. Bringing their mind to the breath, for example, and then really staying there. Okay, that is as such is not entirely wrong, but very often is slightly misunderstood. So concentration as such is not really a bad or a wrong quality, but the misunderstanding of what actually goes on, the mechanics during meditation practice, can become a huge obstacle during the practice itself. Because very often when you concentrate on something, it comes with a whole lot of tension. So you're trying to focus on your breath, and every time you get distracted, it kind of annoys you a little bit. So you come back to the object, try to focus on the breath again, and you find out you're constantly getting distracted again and again. So you come back to the breath and focus again and try to dig yourself into the breath and hold on to it, but you can't. It's impossible, particularly in the beginning. You cannot just sit down and perfectly stay focused on the breath for an entire meditation session. So wrong focus or wrong concentration, I would say, comes together with the expectation that you should be always concentrated or focused. And if you're not, you're a failure. You're doing it wrong. You're not a good meditator. That's what many people feel about meditation. They sit down and they meditate and they're surprised that they are quite distracted. But that's normal. It's part of the game. And distraction poses a challenge. Every time your mind wanders off the object, the challenge is to learn to simply come back. And that's easier said than done. Because usually when we come back in a loaded way. We're loaded with aversion. We don't like the fact that we get distracted. We might expect that we get distracted again. I'm distracted for the 5th time already, and I've just been sitting for a minute. I'm getting distracted every second. What's wrong with me? Why doesn't my mind just listen to what I tell it to do? And because it's simply the nature of the mind to be agitated if you haven't practiced any meditation. You haven't gone deeper into the subject matter. So in the beginning, rather than trying to get concentrated or trying to focus, it's more like a learning from distraction. Like every time you get distracted, the exercise or the learning for most of us here is to just come back without any anger. Not even the slightest hint of anger. Just come back. It's simple mechanics. It's like when you're doing push-ups, you go down and then you push up again. Pushing up is not bad. It's part of the push-up. It's also not going down that is bad. Similarly in meditation, losing the object is not bad. It's just the way it is. You're just losing the object. And then coming back is not good. It's just coming back. So you see it completely without any passion if you can. Like really dispassionately, just bringing the mind back. Recognizing every time you bring the mind back, this is what trains the mind. So you're getting better at the facet of memory. You remember the breath. right? So there's kind of 3 steps in the practice of concentration. So 1, you bring the mind to the breath. You bring your attention to the breath. That's the first thing we do, right? You can say, you remember the breath. There was something like the breath. There it is. It's kind of like a remembering it. Unless you do it for the very first time in your life, then it is really a coming to the breath. Any other time then is remembering it. Once you have remembered the breath, then that's not it. Now you need to practice to stay with the breath. That could be called then concentration. So you really practice to stay there. And in the beginning, is that easy? No, not at all. You might be able to stay with the breath maybe for a second or 2. And you lose it again. Meaning that your attention wanders elsewhere. You hear a sound outside, suddenly you feel your knee or your lower back. You forget the breath, so you remember it again. Remembering it, staying with the breath. The third facet is recognizing distraction. See, this is also something to train. So you want to know when the mind wanders off. As soon as it starts kind of wavering, oscillating, and then it pulls off to something else, like a sound outside or a feeling in the body. If you can recognize that early on, you can then bring the mind back right away. So you're not completely getting lost. The way I often illustrate that is, think of trying to catch a monkey. And you want to catch the monkey and put it in a box. Okay? And keep it in the box. That's just an image, okay? I like monkeys. Monkeys are fine. Okay, so it's just the image. You grab the monkey, put it in the box. You try to keep it in the box. But of course, first of all, you need to catch it. So you need to run around the place, running after it. That is not a very calm thing. You have to actually make a lot of effort to get it. Once you got it, you need to walk to the box, put the monkey in. As soon as you put it in the box, what will happen? It'll jump right on. And if you are not attentive, it will run very far again. So you have to go search for it. And it takes a long time to find it. It's up there in the palm tree. After half an hour of searching it, you find it. So you try to grab it, you got it, you put it back in the box, and it's out again. So meditation in the very beginning is very much like that. You find the breath, you try to put it into the box and keep it there, but it escapes you again very fast. So your attention goes elsewhere. And it might go elsewhere for a long time. You might get completely lost in space, in whatever kind of shopping list or something like that. It's things that you still need to do, or what you dreamt about last night, or whatever. You know how the mind operates. It creates all these kind of thoughts. You might completely get lost in them for half an hour before you actually notice, oh, I've been distracted. Then you need to bring it back again. And the challenge here is, if you get distracted for very long times, it can, and very often does, come with frustration. Like trying to catch the monkey. After doing that many times, making a lot of effort to get it, then putting it into the box only to see that it hops right out again. That is frustrating. And that's where there is, quote unquote, the danger of getting angry and frustrated. Most people do. And if it's just only subtle, there is this kind of sense of, again, why can't I just focus? So here you need to learn the quality of patience. That's where patience comes in. Just do it. No expectation. Just do it. Just go after the monkey. And you do that for however long it takes. If you say, I'm going to sit meditation for half an hour or an hour, then you do it for that amount of time until the bell goes off. So you bring the mind back. After a while of doing that again and again, you know the monkey's hiding spots. You start to get to know where the monkey hides most of the time. So finding the monkey will not take that much time anymore. So you can easily find your breath. You can easily find the monkey where it is. Then you bring it back. Also, since you've been walking around so much for the past 100 sessions, you've been training to catch the monkey, you've been walking around, your legs have become very strong. You've grabbed the monkey to bring it to the box. Your grip has become stronger. You didn't notice that. But by running after the monkey again and again, catching it, bringing it back to the box, you develop faculties of the mind. You develop remembrance. You develop the ability to see when the monkey goes out. So you become more watchful, more awake. So as soon as you put the monkey into the box, you already know what's going to happen. So for the first time now you start operating with the lid. And you push down the lid. But the monkey is still very strong. So it still manages to squeeze itself out of the box and run for a few meters before you catch it. Now that goes on for a little while. Here you're developing the skill of holding down the lid. Meaning, that's the actual skill of concentration. So when your mind comes back to the breath, then you stay with the breathing. Here that quality is staying with the breath. That's what we develop here. Keeping the breath in mind. Maybe you can also call that actually, that is mindfulness itself. So you stay, keep the breath in mind. And because you have trained so many times to see when the monkey hops out of the box, you'll see it immediately. And now you have a feedback. Because you're holding it in the box, you feel the pushing of it when it wants to get out. And you push back without stress. That's important. It is, again, no frustration in that. There's no stress in it. It is more an actual meditation practice, a relaxing into the object. Letting go of this nervous mind and sinking back into the breath, relaxing back into the breath. It is not an actual fight, like holding down the monkey, okay? This is just the image here. Whereas in the beginning you can actually say, yes, meditation is an effort in the beginning. You have to learn to sit still. That's not easy. It takes effort. It takes daily practice. You have to learn to bring the mind back when it escapes. Also that is an effort. You have to learn to stay with the breath, actually, not to get distracted again. That is effort too. Just take out the element of frustration. Just do it. It's only doing. Just coming back to the breath, staying with the breath, losing the breath, noticing, coming back, etc., etc. Like a machine in a way. And when you keep doing that for a while, you get so good at holding down the lid that the monkey cannot push it open anymore. So you will feel that the monkey inside of the box is frustrated. It still kind of wants to go out, and you can still feel the nervous energy of the mind, but at least it stays contained with the breath. At that stage, you're not losing your breath anymore. And I mean completely losing it. Like when a car passes by, you might still hear the car, but most of your mind is with the breath. So the car is kind of a background experience. The foreground experience, the focus, what's in focus, is the breath. Everything else slowly gets out of focus. Your thoughts, other emotions, feelings in the body, stuff that happens around you, it slowly becomes more and more blurry. It gets into the background. Yes? What comes into the foreground becomes more sharp, more clear, is the breath itself as such. Yes. So this is very, very important to practice and to train properly. Often and again and again. So if you practice well, if you go deeper and deeper, it all sounds maybe very martial, what I'm speaking about right now. Like bunch down, keep it down, and so forth. But what actually keeps the mind contained is kindness. And how that works is at that phase where you're really having worked with the monkey mind to such a degree where it actually calms down a little bit, you find out that the best way to keep the monkey mind is by just sitting down underneath the palm tree, being kind. But that takes a while. The monkey mind and you have to kind of get used to each other first. And once you get used to each other, the monkey mind will come to you. It's not that you try to force it to come to you, but it will come to you because you're kind. So it feels that it can relax with you and become soft. So this is what I consider to be right kind of concentration. Know that in the beginning there is effort required. Later on, effort gets in the way. As soon as you try too much, there's a whole lot of trying, you create tension. You bring the mind back up again. So then there is a stage in meditation practice, you need to recognize that, where effort is inappropriate. Where you need to drop it. We need to stop doing. Then there's just relaxing into what is. Being with the breathing. Seeing very clearly what goes on within yourself. And as you also said, it is very much like an addiction to this activity. Yes. So there's this constant activity which very often keeps us kind of separated from our emotional content. So very often for meditators who begin or who are for a while on the path, there is a bubbling up of old stuff that you usually push down, that we do not want to see, that we do not want to work with. And so every session really brings up things inside of yourself that are, we can actually say, that just want to be seen. The grief that you go through, the sadness, the frustration, this is something to see very clearly and to be with. So also the frustration that arises when you constantly try to bring the mind back to the breath and then escapes again. Then you get frustrated. Here is an invitation to learn something. Why do I get frustrated? What is at the base of the frustration? What's causing it? And so all these kind of things that happen over the years as you practice meditation, they teach you things about yourself. That's how you learn many things about yourself, how you learn many things about life. How you treat yourself, for example. It's a wonderful training ground to sit down quietly by yourself and close your eyes. After a while you'll notice just how you treat yourself. How do you bring the monkey into the box? Is it with kindness or is it aggressively? Are you forceful? Do you like yourself? Do you not like yourself? And what's the result of that? Does it help you to relax into the meditation or does it create more stress? So it's a fascinating way that reveals a whole lot of things that we usually don't want to be revealed or that we avoid. Which gives us an opportunity to heal and to come back into what matters. To see the truth of the way it is. And make peace with it, you can say. So one more time as a recap, when you practice, particularly in the beginning, then it's very important to learn to bring the mind to the object consistently, to keep it there kindly, and to recognize when it wanders off. And to remember the object again, stay, and recognize distraction. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for coming. Have a good week.